Hello everyone, it's Conspira Lucy, aka Luke here, and welcome back to another episode of Conspira C's RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 11. And today we are going to be talking about what production is doing wrong, and we're going to rate some of the looks. Have you ever wondered why All-Stars just doesn't hit the way it used to? What used to be such a grand event is now reduced to using the same promo theme 2 years in a row. We used to gag at seeing legendary queens return, and now we applaud as first out queens and queens who didn't really show or make significant TV on their seasons return. And in some cases, when casting is done right, this can end up being a great triumph for the show. Think of something like All-Stars 6. But in many such other cases like All-Stars 5 or All-Stars 8, we get a cast of early out placing contestants doing about the same as they did on their first season. All of this to say, it just doesn't hit the same as it used to. And I think one of the main things we can look at is format. We all know how All-Stars 1 went. We don't need to retread that. But I think when we came to All-Stars 2, it was the perfect marrying of what made the original format of the show while upping the stakes for All-Stars. The lipstick eliminations, the 2 winners each week, it really felt like we were showcasing excellence, and it felt like the queens were the ones in charge, and they had earned that power because of how well they did previously on their seasons. They really were all-stars. The problem was production didn't have enough control. Production interference is always at the scene of the crime. I think everything shifted when Manila Luzon was eliminated on All-Stars 4. I think she was production's pick to win, and they weren't expecting queens to take the bait. I think a lot of times they put a queen in the bottom, but they don't think a queen is going to be bold enough to take the bait. I think that's one of the reasons why Pangina was actually eliminated on UK versus the World. They did a bottom 4 that week and put Jujubee and Mo Heart in the bottom when they were funny in the Snatch game. I think they wanted Blue or Baga to choose Jujubee, who this was her 3rd week in the bottom, over Pangina. But as we saw, Pangina was eliminated. And so that's when we get the lip sync assassin format of All-Stars 5, All-Stars 6, and All-Stars 8. I think they chose this format because it gave them more control of the result. People just didn't like this format. And I think as time went on, more and more queens were like, I'm getting bookings. I don't need to do All-Stars. All-Stars 7 kind of stands out in the fact that they didn't have to do that. I think they experimented with this new format for the winners because it was something that people had wanted for so long. And it was a huge success. It was a huge success in ratings. And so they were like, okay, we've got a good thing going here. They returned back to Lip Sync Assassins on All-Stars 8, and people were less than thrilled. Then they switch it up again on All-Stars 9 because All-Stars 8, All-Stars 5, All-Stars 6, they were all early outs, and they were like, we got to try and get some heavy hitters back again. So they thought, let's try and do a non-elimination format for just regular non-winners. And people did not respond to this because it just didn't feel earned. And I think these queens, they just weren't strong enough to fill out all these episodes. In order to have a non-elimination season, you have to have well-rounded jack-of-all-trade queens. And these were not them. Because we would see them struggling or not trying in the challenge. And then also, at the end of each episode, you're just like, okay, they won, somebody got snipped. It just didn't make as good of TV. That brings us to present day. I do think the tournament format has improved All-Stars, from All-Stars 9 at least. Queens get to show their whole entire package, and we still get to have regular eliminations every once in a while. The issue is production chooses to have these big eliminations, and they kind of bait the queens into these eliminations because it gets people talking. The discourse gets people talking. Manila's elimination gets people talking if it happens. I think they had put Shea in the bottom on All-Stars 5 so many times because they wanted to see a queen take the bait and eliminate her and get that Manila buzz again. And then with all of the ginger riggery on All-Stars 10, I think they knew people are going to be talking about this. And it was one of the most talked about topics of 2025. Ginger's All-Stars win. But I think it gets to a point where do we start to jump the shark? We're getting to a point where production is constantly playing in our faces. And I use the analogy of Pokemon, how if any of you are Pokemon fans, you know that it seems like each year Game Freak removes features from the game. They removed the national decks. They removed Mega Evolution. It's like Every time they'll add a feature and then they'll remove one. There's a constant gimmick, and that's what they do with these All-Star seasons. It's a new format, new queens, it's flashy, it's new, but it starts to get to a point where there's no consistency. Us fans, we start to go, okay, you're playing in my face, and you're removing things I loved about the show. Season 18 was the highest rated season of RuPaul's Drag Race, and yet we don't have live finales anymore, we don't have reunions, and the biggest thing that was playing in our face, and I know some people don't think it's a big deal, but to me, this is a huge deal. They're cutting corners with the promo. Why are the promo colors the exact same? Orange, the purple, and the yellow. It's the exact same theme for All-Stars 11 as it was for All-Stars 10. I mean, we see in the promo down to the graphics they use. It's the exact same graphics they used from last year. So I guess they just didn't want to pay a graphic designer to create some new graphics, which even then, I'm a graphic designer in my day job. You could go into the file and change the hue on all of these things. You just did not have to repeat the same colors and use the same graphics, but they're cutting corners here. And maybe it's because there's not as much budget for Paramount. That could be it. But I think it goes down to, I don't know, are they just lazy? And another thing I wanted to talk about that I didn't really like that's kind of off topic, but for Silky and Kennedie, why are we not acknowledging Canada versus the world? We acknowledged Canada on All-Stars 8. We acknowledged UK on All-Stars 7. We had Raja come back as a lip-sync assassin, and we acknowledged Canada's Drag Race then. We acknowledged Canada's Drag Race when Priyanka came as a lip-sync assassin. So why is it now that we're just not including it? I think maybe it's because they don't want people to be mad like they were for All-Stars 10 when Ginger came back for her 4th time. But it just is so strange, and for me, it kind of takes me out of the show. But with all of that being said, I'm excited for All-Stars 11. Full transparency, I have been spoiled for the season. Do not worry, I will not be saying any spoilers here. It does impact my personal excitement for the season, but I think even if I hadn't been spoiled, I would be looking at this season and being like, it feels less than, especially All-Stars 10's cast was just so stellar. And this one is, for me, leaving a little bit to be desired. But with all of that being said, we are going to review the promo looks and the entrance looks of the All-Stars 11 queens as a package. And here on Conspira C's, when we like the look, we enact it, which means we're enacting it into the law. We like it, we're voting for it. And when we don't like the look, we veto the look, which means, honey, it is not getting passed into law and it's not getting past Congress, okay? So let's get into these promo looks. Starting with bracket number 1, Akeria C Davenport. Now, I gotta say, I love this promo look. This gown is so opulent. I love the reflective material. And it kind of gives me a Pokemon evolution from her first All-Stars season. And again, I love her entrance look. This white, like, hoop skirt with, like, the feathers. It's just really opulent and beautiful. And she always comes as pageant perfection. So I'm gonna have to enact this look. Moving on to Dawn. And she's wearing these layers. She has, like, tiger print. She's got, like, chicken feathers. Dawn is one of those queens that she loves to layer and she does it well. She's kind of hit or miss for me because I normally don't like these cutesy queens, but I really do like this. I will say, because there's so much orange lighting and orange around her, I almost lose the fact that she's doing a different skin tone, which it showed up a lot better in Mistress's video, if any of you watched that with Dawn. But yeah, I'm like, I wish the orange skin tone that she painted showed more, but I think just with the lack of contrast in the photos, it's not showing up as well. Also, just across the board, the low angle is cool, but I also wish we got just a normal angle because I think it isn't as flattering for all queens. Now, in terms of Dawn's entrance look, I mean, this is so beautiful. This is true opulence. This pink is gorgeous. I always love to see Dawn do different skin tones, but I also love to see her with her natural skin tone as well. I think she strikes a good balance there. But I would venture to say that she made this because she makes a lot of her stuff. And if she did, props to her mama. I mean, the long fingers, the feathers, it's just truly opulent. So we are gonna be enacting this look. Moving on to Lucky Starrzz. All right, you guys, I gotta be so honest. I genuinely thought this was pizza when I first saw it. I was like, ooh, this is some melted cheese. I think it's supposed to be magma or fire, which I wasn't getting initially, but I guess for like the orange or like racing or whatever. I gotta be honest, I do not completely love this look. I think the shapes aren't super flattering to me. And a lot of her stuff, it feels like she's kind of going with the flow as she goes. And then she always ends up looking good and presentable, but it's like, I just feel like this could have been tweaked, you know, more finishing touches. Like, and even the makeup, it's like sometimes it's just hard for me to figure out what's going on in her face. And then this entrance look, I actually really like. I love the star motif. It's all stars. She's Lucky Stars. I really like everything about this look, the yellow. But the one thing I hate, and this is what I'm talking about with her with the details, like, why are we wearing a beige platform boot? For what reason? It doesn't go with the look at all. And it's a really baffling decision for me. And so overall, I feel like I was kind of let down with both of her looks, especially compared to like her season 17 promo. And so I'm gonna have to veto these looks as a package, unfortunately. Next up, we have Morgan McMichaels. And Morgan's wearing this leotard sort of dance costume. It's got these like shiny orange metallic materials, and I gotta be honest, it's not my favorite. I think she wore something much more elevated for All Stars 3, and this just doesn't necessarily live up to that for me. It's not bad, I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite. But I actually really do like what she's wearing for her entrance look. It's like 80s color blocking, I really love. I think her makeup is actually better in her entrance look than her promo look. Because I love this entrance look so much, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the promo look, I just think she could have done more. I'm still gonna enact these looks, but it's maybe not as high as some of the others. Moving on to Morphine Love Dion. I gotta be honest, you guys, with this promo look, I'm a little let down. Not let down, I mean, the first thing I'll say is this back piece, I really don't know what texture she was going for. It looks like they like stuck the fabric on sloppily and it's just like crumpled, which I don't think was intentional. I think maybe they were going for something that just doesn't read, because I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's like magma or something. And then she's wearing this sculpted updo, and I gotta be honest, this just doesn't read morphing to me. Like, to me, Morphine is sexy, and she serves body, and I mean, she's serving an hourglass silhouette, but it's like, this is almost like matronly on her, and it's like, I think of Morphine as youthful, and this isn't giving me youthful, and I don't think of her as like an updo type of girl. I think of her as like a bust down sort of queen, you know? And then this entrance look though, I love this entrance look. Now, this is the branding I wish she had in her promo look. I mean, the ladybug, you know, everybody compared her to the ladybug from A Bug's Life, which is so funny, and I just love that she leaned into that. It's so beautiful. The stoning work, she's serving body, her mug is painted. Just a really great choice, and I love when queens have strong branding and they lean into a moment. So overall, I'm gonna have to enact this look. Moving on to Mystique Summers Madison. And let's start out with the positive. You know, I am so glad that she's back. I truly am. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I don't live for this promo look. Now, that being said, first of all, I am not the standard of a drag queen at all. I'm still growing and learning. She's been in the game a little bit longer, and so I guess I expect her to maybe be a bit more put together. And this is where I say, like, now I can kind of see why maybe they haven't cast her all these years, because this promo look to me leaves a little bit more to be desired. Why is the dress haltered at the knee and then doing like a cut down to the bottom? Like, it's just not flattering. And then it's like she's got this lace and all these different shades of orange. It's kind of all clashing and just not very flattering. And then when we talk about not flattering, her entrance look, I mean, this yellow pattern she's wearing with like the brown, it's just a really funky fabric that's just not very pleasing to look at. And then her makeup, mama, she needs some powder. It's looking a little greasy and a little shiny. And then the hair is a little lopsided. Just everything about this I don't like. I also don't like when queens wear like those like earpieces. I don't really like when queens wear that, just for me personally. So in general, I'm gonna have to veto these two looks as a package, but I'm very excited to see her back. And I loved her personality in the confessionals. And overall, I think I still enjoy, listen y'all, I enjoy bad drag. I mean, girl, I do it all the time, okay? So yeah, it's a veto, but love you, girl. Moving on to bracket number 2, and up first we have April Carrión. Now, I gotta be honest, I don't know how much I live for this look. I feel like she's showing her body, but it's not necessarily giving an hourglass silhouette. It's not giving body in that sense. I mean, she's fit, don't get me wrong. It's just a little straight up and down, and that could just be this pose that they're choosing for the promo shot. But overall, I think she does look really great here. I love that the hair is almost like sculpting her body. And then for her entrance look, I love this like sea foam. She almost looks like a sea creature almost, just really beautiful. And this is where I actually like that she's showing body. I love all the detail work. The only thing, like, something about her mug and then into her hairline, it's weird for me.
That was weird for me.
I don't know what's off, and so if any of you can see what I'm saying, maybe you can articulate it better in the comments. But overall, I'm gonna have to enact both of these looks, and I'm really excited to see her back. And can I just say, mama, she is serving, let's just say she's very sexy out of drag. Moving on to Aura Mayari, and she's wearing this like Bunny Bee Fly. I don't know if Bunny Bee Fly actually did it, but she's wearing like this very in a similar vein to Bunny Bee Fly's armor looks. She's wearing this armor, it's shiny. It honestly gives me Jan's promo look from All Star 6, but she looks amazing. She looks like a warrior. You know, she has her signature gray hair, which, to be honest, I might have preferred maybe black hair. I feel like it would have made her features stand out more and contrasted more with her skin tone in the outfit. But overall, this is really beautiful. And then her entrance look is also really stunning. I mean, she's almost made black kind of her brand, which is kind of crazy to say, but she wears black so much. And I think she just loves it. And black is always flattering. And I love the structure of this outfit and the ruffles. I mean, it's very beautifully done. So I'm going to have to enact these looks. I think she did a really great job. Moving on to Crystal Methyd. Something about Crystal is she always perplexes me. I mean, I look at this and I'm like, do I like it? Do I not? But the one thing is, when she perplexes me, she also has visual interest. I always find something to look at. And I think, to me, that says a strong look. It's not always my vibe, right? But she is kind of giving a very warped hourglass silhouette. You know, we're going vavoom, vavoom, right? Because she's wearing these huge round balls or whatever. I said balls. And yeah, I like this star fabric. I'm not sure if I would have preferred if the whole entire outfit was stone, because it's like she almost has this dress that's not stone versus the bodysuit that's her skin is stoned. And maybe that gives more contrast to the outfit, so I can maybe understand why she did that. But I would at least like to see what it looks like with stones, and then I could decide. But overall, I do like this promo look. And then her entrance look, she's doing this like Catholicism. I feel like maybe it's like her Mexican heritage tied with Catholicism. It's almost like an oversized A-line baby doll dress. And it's not, again, it's not my style and it's not my favorite, but there's so much visual interest. And it's like, I do think she looks pretty and I like to look at it. So overall, I'm still gonna enact these looks, but it's just so different to what I would do. And it leaves me perplexed, let's just say that. But yeah, overall, I'm enacting these looks. Moving on to Salina EsTitties. And Salina in her promo look is wearing this almost like quinceañera dress. Like, you know, I think she's having a nod to her Latina heritage. And I gotta be honest, I think the shoulders are a little too wide to where it makes the silhouette not as hourglass. And then the hair is almost a little too vertical for me, to where we're almost making a T shape. And that's just never gonna be as flattering. And then in her entrance look, she is dressed as a golden boot. And I think overall she looks good, but I don't know, I just feel like none of it is as polished as I would like from her. And there's just some finishing touches that I'm like, I maybe would have done that differently or worn a different hair with this. You know, stuff like that. And then this is probably just me, but with her mug, I feel like there's something off with her brows and her eyeliner. Her eye makeup specifically, where I just feel like her wing is never just a straight line and it's always a little too chunky. And I feel like if she just decreased the size of her wing a bit, it would be a little bit more flattering. And then again, just a little bit of a thicker brow and more of a classic brow shape. Those two things would go a really long way for her mug. So overall, I'm gonna have to veto these looks from Salina. It was a little bit of a letdown for me because I wanted her to have such an all-stars glow up and I maybe didn't receive that. No offense, but she's another one of the queens where, mama, she looks the fuck good out of drag. okay? But overall, I'm gonna have to veto these looks. Moving on to Silky Nutmeg Ganache. Now, from what we hear, this was not what she was originally planning on wearing, and it just didn't come in time, and so she had to improvise, and she had this in her closet. To be honest, I still think it looks really good. I mean, this is a tried and true drag bodysuit, and this always is gonna gag me. This is one of my favorite styles. I know a lot of pop stars do it. A lot of drag queens wear this similar type of bodysuit. It reminds me of Cheryl Hole's entrance look on UK vs. the World Season 1. But overall, I just think she looks amazing. I love the stoning work. I know this wig wasn't intentionally meant to be worn with this outfit, but it just looks great. And people love to hate on Silky. To me, Silky is just always a joy. I always love a boisterous queen, and she can be too much for some people, but too much for a drag queen is always good in my book. And moving on to her entrance look, she always enters wearing this royal blue, and it is just to die for. She is doing sort of a Western look. I love the fur coat that she reveals into this Western look. I love the shiny fabric. She just looks so good to me, and she's one of those queens who she knows her body, and her body is always going to look tea. And she's come a long way since season 11. I'm so happy to have her back, and so I'm gonna have to enact these looks. Moving on to Vivacious. Honestly, it should say Vivacious and Ornacia because Ornacia is featured in both of these looks. And again, I love when a queen references themselves. I love when they soak it up, sponge dress. Monet, she made the most out of that moment. And Vivacious over these past few years has really made the most of her moment with Ornacia. And I just think this pink look is so good. I love the collar. I love how Ornacia is almost enveloping the outfit. This is just a really great look for her. And then again, her entrance look, it's almost this elevated Ornacia inspired outfit. I love the mask that she moves. And she's just bringing Club Kid drag to the main stage again, and I love to see it. So overall, I'm gonna have to enact these looks. I'm happy to see Vivacious and Ornacia back on my screen. Moving on to the purple bracket, and up first we have Hershii LiqCour-Jeté. And I gotta say, I don't think that this angle is very flattering, and this pose that they chose for her is very flattering for this look. But overall, I feel like this look is just a little bit simple. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just like, when I think of an All-Stars promo look, I want to be gagged. And this doesn't really gag me that much. It's giving a little bit superhero, it's giving leotard. Again, there's nothing wrong with it, but I just wanted to see a little bit more from Hershii. And then when we get to the entrance look, I like the idea of this face mask. I wish the hair wasn't so vertical. Again, a lot of these queens are just doing these vertical wigs, and I'm like, I just think these looks require a little bit more volume on the sides of your head. And then I feel like I wish she was a little bit more cinched. It's giving a little bit straight up and down. And then I wish that these puffed sleeves were just a little bit rounder, because it kind of takes me out when the shape isn't completely round. And so overall, unfortunately, I'm going to have to veto these looks, but I'm still very excited to see what Hershii has to bring to the competition. Moving on to Jasmine Kennedie. Now, speaking of bodysuits, this is how you do a bodysuit. I love the cutouts, and I love that because she's not doing a broad shoulder, she's able to do a little bit more height in the hair. And this is where I think a vertical hairstyle works. I love that she's not afraid to put on drag. And her and Bosco, they invented serving body. And this entrance look is just to die for. I love that she's showing her body, but it's encrusted with diamonds. She just looks amazing. And can we talk about her mug glow up? She used to look like Alyssa Edwards, and she used to paint drag, and she still paints drag, but it's just so much softer, yet it's still so drag. And so overall, I'm gonna have to enact these looks. She is one of the queens who I'm most excited to see again. Moving on to Joey J, the first gay contestant to ever be on RuPaul's Drag Race. Joey J is gay. And she's wearing this bodysuit, this almost armor. Again, it's giving me Bunny Bee Fly. A lot of the girls love this type of look nowadays. And she looks amazing, her body looks right. But I'm not crazy about this wig choice. And let's just be happy she's wearing a wig in general, but this blunt bang bust down, I'm just like, what possessed her to choose this wig? Why would we not go for an updo? I truly don't know, but I still think it looks good. And then she's harkening back to her entrance look on season 13 for her entrance look here with the red, this little circular thing wrapped around her. I wish the shape was a little bit more consistent, if that makes sense. It just looks the taddest bit sloppy. Not sloppy, that's not the right word, but Do y'all know what I'm saying? But overall, I really like this entrance look. I love the red on her. But again, this like slick back wig, I'm like, I don't really love it. And it just is kind of perplexing to me because, again, I might have done more of an updo. Or I honestly think the wig she wore for her promo look would probably have looked better for her entrance look, and vice versa. Is that crazy? But overall, I'm gonna have to enact these looks because I do think she looks good in them. It's just those wig choices that I was like, what's going on here? Moving on to Kennedy Davenport. I love this star-shaped skirt. I love the star earrings. I love the height of this hair. I love the icy purple contacts. I normally don't like icy blue contacts, but like the purple in these contacts really looks good to me. I'm not so crazy about her entrance look though. She's wearing this like airbrushed bodysuit, like painted on, and it's like the painted on like black parts onto the heart. I just feel like when you airbrush like this, it just comes across as cheap, and I'd rather like, these black parts actually be like sculpted on rather than just airbrushed on. Overall, it still looks good, and overall, I'm still gonna have to enact this package, but I'm not crazy about that detail of the dress, but I'm so excited to have Kennedy back. I'll welcome any opportunity to see more Kennedy lip syncs, more Kennedy confessionals. She is just an icon of the show. Moving on to Sam Starr. And I'm not crazy about this promo look. It's like the individual pieces are really great, and Sam always well, I shouldn't say always because we're going to get to that entrance look, but she normally always chooses really great pieces, but sometimes she doesn't always put them together well. And I think she did that on her season 17 promo where I was like, I like these pieces, but they just don't really go together to me. And these really don't go together to me. And it's also like, this is not the right shade of purple. It's like the most desaturated purple you could have. And then there's a different shade of purple in the hair. And I do like this hair, but this hair would only work on a very specific outfit that's just not this outfit. Like the silhouette is just kind of bonkers. And then speaking of silhouettes that are bonkers, what is this like two-piece like color guard, cheer, whatever? She's wearing a cowboy hat. I don't know what kind of branding this was supposed to indicate to us, but this is not the opulent looks that she talks about. And overall, you guys, I'm gonna have to veto these looks as a package. I saw a tweet that said Trinity was like, bitch, use your own closet. Lastly, we have Shuga Cain. And for this promo look, she's wearing this like mini dress and it's got like this draping of fabric, and I don't hate it, but it's a little simple. And one of the biggest critiques of Shuga Cain on season 11 was she didn't really have a defined brand. And so she comes in with this promo, and again, it's just like very nondescript. I will say her drag is always polished, besides the troll look, but her drag is always so polished and always looks good. But there's never a point of view with Shuga. And I find that that's the case with her entrance look as well, even though I love this entrance look. This blue on her, this hair, her mug is just so beautiful. But it's just like your generic drag queen's drag queen, which, don't get me wrong, I live, but, it's like you're Shuga Cain, but who is Shuga Cain? What is Shuga Cain? I still don't know. But overall, I'm gonna have to enact these looks because there's nothing wrong with them, but they're just kind of middle of the road, and she kind of exemplifies that. And I hate to say that, and I hope that she proves us wrong in this season. All right, so we've talked about the State of the Union of All Stars, and we've reviewed the looks. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about the state of All Stars right now? And do you agree or disagree on any of my takes for the promo looks and entrance looks? Be sure to leave a like if you liked the video, and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. All right, you guys, bye.